Welcome to the Cannabis Compliance Updates for October 2022 in the Southern region. In Arkansas, the Arkansas Board of Corrections expressed opposition to proposed recreational cannabis amendment. The Arkansas Board of Corrections declared its opposition to a proposed constitutional amendment that would legalize recreational cannabis on Friday, a day after the state Supreme Court ruled votes will be counted on the proposed ballot measure in the November 8th general election. The Corrections Board unanimously approved a motion by the chairman, Benny Magnus, to state that the board is against the changing of Arkansas's constitution to legalize recreational cannabis. Magnus said that he also wanted to address the myth that state prisons were filled with low-level cannabis violations. Board member John Feltz said most of the inmates who are in the prison system say they were under the influence of drugs when they committed their crime. All right, and then another one out of Arkansas. So let's just go over this super quickly. The Arkansas Adult Use Amendment Issue 4 has been run by Responsible Growth Arkansas, which submitted over 190,000 signatures, twice the amount needed for certification. The measure has been off and on again this year due to the series of certification struggles with the state's Board of Election Commissioners. But on August 10th, the state Supreme Court ordered the issue be put on the November 8th ballot. A September 12th poll conducted by Hendrix College in Talk Business and Politics, an Insider Arkansas politics publication, found the issue is highly likely to pass, with 58.5% of 835 likely voters supporting the issue, 29% against, and 12.5% undecided. If passed, the issue would directly amend the state's constitution by passing statute, legalize cannabis for adults 21 and older, allow the state's 32 licensed medical dispensaries to sell adult use and each create a second dispensary, create 40 additional adult use dispensary licenses and 18 Tier 2 cultivation licenses to be distributed by lottery, authorize the Alcoholic Beverage Control ABC division to regulate the industry, and levy a 10% retail tax. The proposed constitutional amendment makes no mention of social equity expungement or of legalizing home grow. In Florida, a leading national cannabis consumer packaged goods company and owner of Rise Dispensaries today announced plans to expand its medical retail footprint in Florida through a lease agreement with Circle K, the global convenience store retailer. Starting in 2023, Green Thumb plans to launch its test and learn phase of the rollout with approximately 10 Rise Express branded dispensaries adjacent to Circle K stores in various Florida locations through the exclusive agreement. Green Thumb can lease space for Circle K in Florida, where the retailers currently operate approximately 600 locations. The Rise Express stores will offer patients a selection of branded cannabis products, including Rhythm Premium Flower, Dog Walkers Pre-Rolls, Incredibles Gummies, and Shine Vapes. So, a lot happening with this. A lot of outrage, a lot of questions, just a lot of everything. And it's interesting because if you know anything about Florida and how they regulate in Florida, essentially you get one license in Florida, but it's vertically integrated and you get 25 retail storefronts. A lot of people had the misconception that these Rise Expresses were going to be like in the Circle K, but they're actually adjacent to it, and they're like a separate license premise as if this will all go down. But really, if you know Florida structure and how stringent they are in that state, there's no way this is going to fly. And the state of Florida have already said that this isn't going to fly. Maryland, let's talk about it. So last April, the Maryland legislature voted to place adult use legalization on the ballot as a straight up or down question for voters. The referendum, question 4, was accompanied by champion legislation that would be enacted in the question passes that would legalize possession of up to 1.5 ounces and provide for expungement as of July 1st, 2023. Since then, a number of organizations have formed to support the measure, including MD Can 2022. Compared to other states, the lift for legalizing adult use seems pretty light, especially since a September 27. Washington Post University of Maryland poll showed 73% of likely Maryland voters support passage. You don't want to assume anything, but we've known for many years there have been polls showing 2/3 to 3/4 of Marylanders have wanted to legalize marijuana. The big thing for us in Maryland is that all of those voters get out and vote, said Tracy Lancaster Miller, president of the Maryland Medical Dispensary Association. If the measure passes, the state's General Assembly would be directed to author and pass legislation creating a structure for adult use production and retail sales, although, as reported in August, exactly what that would look like is very unclear. And another one out of Maryland. Maryland marijuana legalization expected to pass in November, but details pending. Just went over this a little bit, but just another update. Maryland voters appear likely next month to approve the cultivation and sale of recreational cannabis, but state lawmakers would then need to pass legislation establishing a regulatory framework governing the new market standard. Assuming the November 8th ballot initiative passes, retail sales are expected to start in Maryland in 2014 or 2025, probably 2025 if you have to establish a regulatory framework. But anyways, with annual revenue likely totaling hundreds of millions of dollars soon after the market's launch, the latest polling shows the majority of Maryland residents support adult use cannabis legalization. In Virginia, home grow arrests, consequences of Virginia's half and half out cannabis laws. So in 2021, Virginia legalized possession of cannabis for adults over the age of 21. In their infinite wisdom, they also legalized home cultivation for up to 4 plants per household, but failed to establish legal sales, like a regulatory framework, so you can actually have dispensaries. This has led to all of the too predictable issue of increased illicit sales and overall less safe cultivation with unknown strains coming from who knows where, since it's all illegal to purchase clones or seeds. Now fast forward to the present, and what we have is a bona fide mess on our hands. Virginians are getting arrested for possession with intent to distribute. But perhaps more interesting, the home cultivation nexus as the trigger bringing police to the front door with search warrants in their hand. This raises all sorts of interesting legal questions, including Fourth Amendment constitutional protection. Okay, so just real quick, this statement. Virginians are getting arrested for possession with intent to distribute. Do you know what this is also tied to? Biden's pardoning order of simple cannabis possession, where in reality, pretty much no one is locked up at the federal level. This is actually a state crime, usually, for simple cannabis possession. And most federal crimes are also convicted of intent to distribute and intent to sell. So if you want to learn more about that, click this link up here on this video where I break down a lot more about Biden's order and all of the craziness and what this actually means. So let's talk about some takeaway for home growers in Virginia. Back to the article. So 1, make sure you're only growing up to 4 plants per household. Do not allow others to grow plants on your property thinking that you are growing 4 and your brother is growing 4, etc. It's 4 per law. 2, be discreet. Plain sight of the public should be obvious, but perhaps in some instances it is not so obvious. Look around your area where you're growing. Can it be seen from the public road or public alley? If so, perhaps consider a larger fence or building a greenhouse that shields the view of your plants. 3, put a lock on it. Make sure you have controlled access and take reasonable steps to prevent unauthorized access. 4, tag your plants. Nothing fancy needed, just a tag that has all the required identification information and that states clearly this is for personal use authorized under Virginia law. 5, get to know your neighbors. This is always good advice, but honestly, make it a part of the community in an open and healthy way can lead to education concerned neighbors about your right to grow and show them that there is nothing to fear about your personal use. Number 5, I'm not too sure if I agree with that one, but hey, use at your own risk, okay? Alrighty, and moving on over to Washington, D.C. Weed in D.C. in 2022, how to buy safely. So Washington, D.C. has experienced a boom in cannabis culture in recent years. Speaking of which, marijuana is legal for medical purposes and decriminalized for recreational purposes. Besides its usage for medical and adult use purposes is authorized in D.C., but only under strict conditions. Residents are permitted to consume and grow weed at home and privately distribute up to 1 ounce of their stash. However, the sale of recreational cannabis remains illegal. Purchasing marijuana in Washington, D.C. is lawful as long as you follow the regulations that govern its use under medical. The law allows citizens to carry up to 2 ounces of marijuana at any time. You may also gift or give away to 1 ounce of cannabis on the decriminalized side or adult use side. Because DC is DC, you must be cautious to ensure that you are on private property, no smoking on the streets, and not on federal property, parkland, monuments, to be on the right side of the law. And again, I go into a lot more in depth about decriminalizing, legalizing, descheduling, and rescheduling in this video right here. So click that link and take a look at all of those different impacts, not only for like personal use, but also for your cannabis business and what this means if we do federally decriminalize, deschedule, reschedule, or legalize. And we got another DC update. So effective today, as of October 20th, non-DC residents, including international visitors, may register for a 30-day temporary patient registration to purchase medical cannabis from a DC licensed dispensary. Applicants must be at least 21 years of age to apply and pay a non-refundable $30 fee. That's reasonable. Upon receipt of payment, applicants are issued a digital registration that may be immediately used at any of the DC's 7 licensed dispensaries. Non-residents may also continue to purchase medical cannabis by presenting a valid patient registration from the U.S. state or territory extended reciprocity. Currently, 38 states and territories are extended reciprocity, including Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. All applicants are strongly encouraged to apply online, but mail, email, and in-person applications are also accepted. Arbro's Medical Cannabis Program office is open Monday through Friday, so if you have any additional questions and additional program details are available at abra.dc.gov, or you can reach out to medicalcannabis@dc.gov. And if you're looking for more cannabis business and compliance information, click this video here, and I provide the federal compliance updates for October 2022 and what Biden really means by pardoning individuals with simple cannabis possession. And don't forget to subscribe below for monthly cannabis compliance and regulatory updates and weekly videos to help improve your cannabis business operations and compliance. Have a good one.